Welcome back to the Open Wheel Offline League Season 5, Round 8. And this is the first time we have gone to the Hockenheim. I think first time that we've ever been in Germany. It's a new country on our passports here. Qualifying just about to get underway. Let's take a look at who is in this session. We got Shane Van Gisbergen, Connor Zilic, Louis Foster, Nolan Siegel, Miles Rowe, Dorian Pinn, Francesco Draconi, Tinkle McStinkle, Mahavir Raghunathan, Ryan Priest, Ethan Martz, Guy Gagne, Lawless Allen, and Globler Lore. So 14 cars in each. We got 28 entries for the weekend. Most forever for any race outside Indy, which had 31 last time out, won by Lewis Hamilton. He's not racing today. It was just a one-time thing. Miles Rowe, first car out. Ethan Mart's going to be coming out next. All three Team Eggs cars ended up in one group. 3 out of 4 of the Viking Racing cars ended up in one group. 4 out of 5 Banshees of Low Miami's cars ended up in Group B. And then 3 out of 4 Swindlers of the Immortals cars ended up in this group. So a lot of teammates together in these sessions. Miles Rowe out first. He also has his teammate, the 53 of McStinkle, in here. Got a car up the road from him. Shouldn't be much of an issue. Eventide Racing had a decent outing at Indy. Qualifying went well. The race, not a lot of pace in either car, but Rowe came home 17th. McStinkle tied his best of the season in 13th. So all things considered, not too bad. It's currently right behind Nolan Siegel on track, who got his podium, I believe his second podium of the season at Indy, moved up to 4th in the standings. Shane Van Gisbergen, the only car still in the pits. Finished 5th at Indy. Still leads the points. Right now, Miles Rowe currently looks to be the fastest car on track. It's a first lap 1:17.3. That's what everyone's going to be chasing. Guy Gagne's second sector is better than Miles Rowe's second sector, as it has gone pink. Through the final few turns, let's see where Guy Gagne goes. This one's going to be pretty decent, 1:16.2. Ethan Martz had a little bit of traffic, so he's at a 1:22. He will get another lap. Dorian Pinn did go off track, so this lap will not count, I believe. If it does, it's not going to be too quick anyways. Yeah, that lap will not count. Francesco Draconi and Connor Zilic right now right on top of each other. Zilic goes to the top, Draconi third. Draconi going to stay ahead. Louis Foster goes third. Nolan Siegel needs to beat a 1:17.9 just set by Lawless Allen, so that's the time to beat. But Siegel's going to take it to the top easily, 1:15.0, up by a second. Miles Rowe currently on the bubble. He's not going to go quicker. Globler right now in clean traffic. He's going to come around the final turn. This one's not going to be the greatest lap. It's going to go only the 9th. Ryan Preece 5th, just within the next round cutoff. Here's McStinkle. And this one's going to be at the bottom. This one's going to be 11th. Gagne does not go quicker that time. He does sit in 3rd, so pretty safe. Martz only moves up to 9th. Raghunathan to 11th. Dorian Pin, we're going to have to see what lap this is. 6th, so right now on the bubble with a 116.67. Connor Zilic. This one's going to go to the top just barely, as Draconi does not go fast enough to get into the next round. Neither does Lawless Allen. Shane Van Gisbergen, however, is going to knock out his teammate, going to go a second faster, 113.9. So Dorian Pin below the cutoff. Went off track on a previous lap, and that might hurt her time. Miles Rowe not going to go quicker here. Ryan Preece currently on the bubble with a 116.5. Raghunathan's gone off track, so he's not going to go faster here. Preece going to go a bit better. That's going to put Gagne on the cut line. Globler goes faster, but it's not good enough to help him. Guy Gagne enters the pits. McStinkle going to come around the final turn. Slap going to be better, but still only 14th. Ethan Martz right now below the cutoff. It's going to go better, but he's going to stay in 11th. Raghunathan did go off. Dorian Pin is going to come into the pits, so that could be interesting. That may be another round 1 exit if she does not get back out in time. A lot of cars entering the pits now with limited time left in the session. Van Gisbergen going to go for another lap here. Does not go faster, but he's half a second clear to Nolan Siegel. Rowe will come in. Ryan Preece, currently better in 2 sectors. Wouldn't be surprised if he comes in, however. Foster going to go back out. I think you got to be leaving the pits now if you want to get another lap. Dorian Pin not leaving the pits. Gagne's exiting the pits. Stinkle not going to go better here. Raghunathan going to enter the pits. He was actually on a pretty solid lap, so it's kind of unfortunate, but will not go better. Shane Van Gisbergen will come in this time. He's safe into the next round. Louis Foster will begin a final lap, and I think Gagne is going to get one, but I believe that's it. So everyone in the top 6 will be advancing, and the bottom 8 will be eliminated. Checkered flags out. So we're just going to see what Foster and Gagne can do on their own. Currently going faster. Well, first sector at least. Second sector, not so much. See if he goes faster here. He will go faster. He'll go up to 3rd. Gagne Gonna come around and you'll go up to 5th. Advancing into the next round is the number 1 of Shane Van Gisbergen, 19 of Nolan Siegel, 10 of Louis Foster, 9 of Connor Zilich. His teammate, the number 90 of Guy Gagné, and the 64 of Ryan Priest will be the last card to advance. And then eliminated, starting 13th, knocked out in round 1 once again for Dorian Pinn. 15th will be the 92 of Lawless Allen. 17th will be the 49 of Francesco Draconi. 19th will be the 37 of Miles Rowe. 21st will be Ethan Martz. 23rd will be Glubler Lore. 25th will be Mahavir Raghunathan. And then 27th will be Tinkle McStinkle. That's it for round 1. We'll be back in just a moment for round 1 Group B. Back for round 1 Group B. Here are the entrants of this round. We got Carlos Huertas in his first ever road course qualifying. Justin Allgaier, Robbie Lohr, Chet Jordan, Benjamin Peterson, Marcus Armstrong, Lindsey Brewer, Devlin DeFrancesco, Stingray Robb, Alessio Deletta, Dawa Tenzin, Nico Hulkenberg, Brendan Hubbard, and David Malukas. So 14 more cars getting ready to go out as the 29 has already hit the track. Let's go on board with him. That's a quick onboard for a lap around the Hockenheim. Benjamin Peterson, rough Indy 300 weekend for him. Didn't qualify too well and was taken out of the race early. A lot of cars got taken out of the race early, but him fairly early. Not as bad as his teammate Carlos Huertas in his debut, who was knocked out in 30th, which is kind of rough for a debut start. Seems to be a lot of traffic jams on the circuit currently. As Peterson gonna hit the line here. Let's see what his first lap is. Actually looks pretty decent. 1:15.9. That's a solid start. Devlin DeFrancesco right behind Peterson's new teammate, 1:18.6, so not as well there. Here comes David Malukas now. Pink second sector, so he's going pretty quick. Gonna be hitting the line here with a 1:15.5. So pretty decent lap there. Dawa Tenzin gonna hit the line with a 1:19.1. Gonna need some more pace out of it. Man, this is a real big traffic jam. Jet Jordan has a pink in the second sector. He's going to try and get around Lindsey Brewer here. 14.2 despite being in traffic. That's pretty quick. Brewer 5th, Deletta 4th. Peterson still the best of his team. Doesn't go better. Here's Robbie Lohr. 1:17.7. That's going to be on the cut line as now Huertas 1:17.1. Devlin couldn't go better. Hubbard now. The lone Viking racing car in this group. 1:16.8. That's all he has. Marcus Armstrong gonna come around the final turn here. 1:13.9, that's gonna go to the top. Here comes David Malukas. Not gonna go better than his current best lap. Stingray Rob gonna come around the final turn. 1:19.2, that's gonna be at the bottom, unfortunately. Dawa Tenzin gonna move up to 9th as Justin Allgaier, currently all green. Gonna come to the line here. And this one is good enough for 3rd. Brewer gonna go to 5th. Deletta up to 3rd, and that's gonna put Lindsey Brewer on the cut line just as quickly as she gets in. It's gonna knock out Peterson and Hubbard as Robbie gonna go better, but only up to 10th. Huerta is not gonna go better here. DeFrancesco still in 12th. Hubbard looking for just a little bit more pace. Find some lap time, but still in 8th. Hulkenberg, only car that hasn't set a lap, and he is going to be pretty far off the back in 14th. Armstrong does not go better, but he's looking pretty safe. Malukas gonna enter the pits here. Stingray Rob down in 13th. As this lap is good enough for 9th, so that's going to be a pretty big improvement there. Justin Allgaier on a good lap. I think in the first sector. As 14.4, he's going to improve, but not going to go up any higher. Robbie Lohr currently on a good lap, but is this an in lap? Yes, it is. So that lap will not count. Huertas is in. DeFrancesco is in. Hubbard is in. Armstrong currently on top. He's going to come in. We've already got a few cars on outlaps, including Peterson, who is below the cut line. Only 1/10 behind his teammate. Hulkenberg going to go quicker, but still 2 seconds off the back. Allgaier will come in here as we see Hulkenberg going into the stadium. Peterson currently below the cutoff. He needs to find just a 10th. Right now, yellow in the first sector. That's not going to be getting it done. Second sector, also yellow, but I think he will have enough time for one more lap. Hulkenberg gonna go only a little bit quicker, still about 2 seconds behind. As Peterson will take the flag, he's gonna have one more lap. Malukas currently in 5th. Getting held up with the 14. And he's pretty close to the cutoff, so he doesn't want to be messing around that for too long. The checkered flag. Hubbard was the last car to get to the line. Robbie unfortunately didn't get back in time, so he will be eliminated. Tenzin not going quicker. No improvement from Malukas. Tenzin gonna come around, and it doesn't seem to be close enough. Hulkenberg gonna come in, but here's Lindsey Brewer, currently in 6th. Not gonna go quicker, and Peterson doesn't seem to have the pace. Neither does Hubbard, both just a little bit behind. Peterson will not advance, he is eliminated in round 1. As Hubbard will also, he will make it just barely by 400ths of a second, gonna knock out Lindsey Brewer last second, literally the last car. Marcus Armstrong gonna lead the group, but Brewer eliminated last second, quite literally, because Hubbard only got to the line with a few seconds left on the clock. So all 4 Viking racing cars will advance. But this group is led by Marcus Armstrong. After that is the 24 of Chet Jordan, so both Sillyman racing cars will advance. Justin Allgaier will advance. Alessio Deletta will be, I believe, the lone Banshees of Little Miami car to make it into round 2 today. David Malukas will advance. And then Brendan Hubbard right at the end will just squeak through. Make it into round 2. So starting 14th, eliminated last second, Lindsey Brewer. 16th will be the 29 of Benjamin Peterson. 18th will be Stingray Robb. 20th will be Carlos Huertas in his first road course race. 22nd will be Robbie Lord. A little bit of a disappointing qualifying effort from him today. 24th will be Dawa Tenzin. 26th will be Devlin DiFrancesco not going to back up his Indy qualifying. And then starting at the tail end of the field will be the 95 of Nico Hulkenberg in his home Grand Prix. So that is it for round one. We'll be back in just a second for round two. Welcome back for round two. Let's take a look at your entry list for this round. Shane Van Gisbergen, Connor Zilic, Louis Foster, Justin Allgaier, Nolan Siegel, Chet Jordan, Marcus Armstrong, Ryan Preece, Alessio Deletta, Guy Gagne, Brennan Hubbard, and David Malukas are the 12 cars that make up round two today. As we wait for the first cars to hit the track, as it will be David Malukas who's going to come out first. We're going to ride alongside with him. So through the hairpin, as I believe the 99 may have just came out in front of his teammate on the first lap of his qualifying run. That may be a mistake on the team's behalf. I mean, that is what happens when you have 4 cars in one round. As let's see what David Malukas has for his first lap. It's not going to be a super great one. 119.4. Zilich to the top with a 116.2. Then Foster with a 116.6. Marcus Armstrong on 2 pink sectors. So right now looking to be the fastest car out there. Justin Allgaier gonna come to the line. This one will go to the top. 116.1. Alessio Deletta 118.3. As Armstrong 114.2. So to the top by nearly 2 seconds. Let's see what Shane Van Gisbergen has to respond to that. Gonna come off the final turn. 114.5, so not as good, but in the ballpark, just 2 tenths behind. Still, it's trying to get by Malukas back there. They're now side by side. Time to beat a 118.3. It's pretty manageable so far. As Gagne to the line, 117.6. Zilich goes faster with a 115.8. Malukas gonna go better with a 118.6. Hubbard only a 119.6, so that's currently at the bottom. Right now, time to beat a 117.8 by Guy Gagne. Allgaier with a pink in the first sector. Where will this go? This will go to the top. So Justin Allgaier by 13 thousandths will go P1. Alessio Deletta just out by half a second. Siegel gonna go to 5th. Deletta does not go quicker. Armstrong does not go to the top. Foster now on the cut line with a 116.5. Chet Jordan to the line. And this one will go 4th. Van Gisbergen first by 77 thousandths. Right now it's very close at the top. Ryan Preece in some clean traffic, the only car that hasn't set a lap yet. Preece gonna come to the line. Only gonna be a 117.78, which will put him in 8th right now. Zilich enters pit lane. He's in 5th. Gagne not gonna go quicker. Malukas will go a bit quicker, but he's still down 11th. Hubbard will go up to 8th, so a pretty decent jump for the 99 team. Allgaier will enter pit lane. Siegel now on the cut line with a 116.5. He's going to come around the final turn here. And this one's going to be a lot better. 115.0. So now Zilich on the cut line with a 115.8. Jet Jordan will come to the line here. This one's going to go... He's going to stay in 4th, but a lot closer. Preece needs to find about 2 seconds, which is a pretty big ask. Ryan Preece around the final turn. Gonna come to the line here. It's gonna be close, but only to 7th. This is out by a couple tenths. Gagne gonna come in, Malukas in, and Hubbard will come in. Foster on an outlap, currently below the cut line. See if he can get in. Chet Jordan does a pink in the second sector, but the top 4 only spread out by about 2.5 tenths. Alessio Deletta gonna come in. Chet Jordan. I believe this is his in lap. Does Ryan Preece have another lap in it? Because right now it's green. Could Preece knock in? Second sector not so good, and the second sector is about most of the laps, so it's gonna be tight, and that's assuming Priest doesn't need to come in here. He has been out here for 2 laps. This would be a third. Yeah, that would be pretty close to pushing it. Zilich going quicker, trying to get above the cut line here. Looking good so far through the stadium section. He's going to come to the line here. It'll move up to 5th, but that's going to put Siegel on the cut line with a 1:15.0 as checkered flags out. Zilich was the last one to get to the line. Louis Foster currently down in 8th. Does he have anything? But right now it's yellow in the first sector. It's green in the second sector, however. So there might be just enough there. It's going to be close. Let's see what he has. At the line, it will be just not good enough. He's only going to go to 7th and will not make it into the Fast 6. Allgaier and Zilich will be the last cars to complete their lap. Allgaier safely in. Zilich a little bit hairy, but he will make it. So advancing to the Fast 6, Shane Van Gisbergen at the top of the session, Justin Allgaier in 2nd, Marcus Armstrong in 3rd, Chet Jordan 4th, Connor Zilich 5th, and then 6th will be Nolan Siegel. So 2 Swindlers cars, 2 Silly Men racing cars, and 2 Viking racing cars. And then eliminated, starting 7th, just not enough, will be Louis Foster. 8th will be Ryan Preece. 9th will be Brendan Hubbard. 10th will be his teammate Guy Gagne right next to him. 11th will be Alessio Deletta. And then rounding out your top 12 will be David Malukas. That's it for round 2. We'll be back in just a moment for the Fast 6. Year 4 of a Fast 6 to see who will be on pole for the German Grand Prix. Here are your 6: Shane Van Gisbergen, Connor Zilic, Justin Allgaier, Nolan Siegel, Chat Jordan, and Marcus Armstrong. These 6 will now face off for 8 minutes to see who's going to get pole. Almost 2 minutes down and no one has left the pits. There's only one car in pits right now, and that's Shane Van Gisbergen. So the number 1 first car out, his teammate Justin Allgaier gonna follow. Now it's gonna be the 33 of Marcus Armstrong. Trying to see if all 6 cars can get some clean traffic. Nolan Siegel will go out. So 2 cars remain. As Connor Zilic gonna leave just now, I think that should be far enough up the road to where it doesn't impact Van Gisbergen. A little close for comfort. As Van Gisbergen will begin his first lap, Chet Jordan gonna leave the pits now, so no impact will be had on him, and he won't impact anyone. All 6 pretty spread out, but 1 and the 9 are the closest to each other. Even they have a bit of space. It might be enough, however, for Van Gisbergen to maybe get a little bit of a pull down some of these straightaways. Gonna have to see how that plays out. So far, Allgaier not as quick as Van Gisbergen through the first sector, but Armstrong is the quickest through the first sector. So right now the 33 is on it. Into the stadium section. Around the final turn, and Shane Van Gisbergen, first lap, is a 1:15.9. Gonna have to see how that holds up, but right now, Armstrong, let's see what his second sector is, and it's better. So pink second sector, Van Gisbergen and Zilic are basically on top of each other now, so a little bit of impeding happening between the 1 and the 9. Allgaier will complete his first lap as 1:19.0, but Armstrong to the top, 1:14.4 by 1.5 seconds. Right now the 33 is on top. And Van Gisbergen not going quicker this lap. See what Nolan Siegel has. Only a 1:17.8. That's only going to be good enough for third. Van Gisbergen has gotten around the number 9 and has a pink second sector. Armstrong got held up a little bit by Allgaier. Let's see what Van Gisbergen has this time. Not good enough. Only 4 tenths down. Zilich only going to go to fourth. 118.6. Chet Jordan going to come around the final turn. And this will be a 117.5, which is going to put him in third. Right now it's a two-car shootout, it seems. Armstrong got around Allgaier. Let's see what the second lap is. Not better. Justin Allgaier does not go better that lap. Nolan Siegel is tracking better. Van Gisbergen looks better in the first sector. It might be tight. Siegel gonna come around there, gonna go up with a 116.3. Still off the leaders by a good bit. Van Gisbergen slower in the second sector. Chet Jordan has gone off a bit. So that his lap will probably not count. He will have enough time to get around for another lap, but Van Gisbergen gonna come in. So he's done. He's not gonna get pulled today. Zilich gonna come around the final turn. And he will go 117.1. He's gonna go fourth. Chet Jordan, this lap will not count. He'll have one more lap at his disposal. But Marcus Armstrong looks pretty clear for his first road course pole of the season. He's gonna come in now. Allgaier gonna stay out and complete this final lap. .118.5. Siegel will come in. Zilich gonna stay out for this lap. Checkered flag is out. So only these three cars that you see on your track map still eligible to go quicker. And they sit 4 through 6, so I think it's pretty safe to say Marcus Armstrong will be your pole sitter. Zilich gonna come in. Chet Jordan. He is going to come in this time. Then Justin Allgaier has been out here for a while, so I assume he's coming in this time. So Allgaier will come in, and it will be Marcus Armstrong on pole for the first time on a road course this season, as he sits second in points. So first and second in points, gonna be second and first. On the starting grid, Marcus Armstrong gonna lead Shane Van Gisbergen, and then in row 2, gonna be the two Viking racing cars of Nolan Siegel and Connor Zilich. Row 3 will be Chet Jordan and Justin Allgaier, as back to row 4 will be Louis Foster and Ryan Preece, as back into row 5 will be another Viking racing row. This time will be Hubbard and Gagne. As then back to row 6 will be Alessio Deletta and then David Malukas, your best qualifying Ford for today. Row 7, going to be Dorian Pinn, eliminated in round 1 once again, with Lindsey Brewer, Tour outside. Row 8 will be Lawless Allen and Benjamin Peterson. Back to row 9, Francesco Draconi and Stingray Robb. And then behind them in row 10 will be the 37 of Miles Rowe, and then Carlos Huertas in his road course debut in the Open Wheel Offline League. He's going to be starting from 20th in row 10. Back to row 11 will be Ethan Martz. Got his best career finish at Indy with a 7th. Going to be deep in the field with Robbie on his outside. And then Robbie's brother, Glubler, will be on the inside of row 12. On his outside will be the 94 of Dawa Tenzin. Back to row 13, going to be Tenzin's teammate, Mahavir Raghunathan, and not going to back up his good qualifying at Indy will be Devlin DeFrancesco. Then rounding out the field in the final row will be Tinkle McStinkle and the 95 of Nico Hulkenberg. So that is it for qualifying here at the Hockenheim. Coming up tomorrow will be the German Grand Prix. Marcus Armstrong, second in points, going to try and mount a charge to pass Shane Van Gisbergen in points, but he's going to need to hold him off. It's going to be an exciting race.